This is a demonstration of how I would work on the subroutine called strToUpper, which is one of the questions in exam2. First, I have to unzip the file, go to the folder, look at the main program, line 6 to line 16, and then go to the assembly file, paste the original C code, insert the comment symbol at the beginning of each line, and I'm ready to work on it now. First of all, we define all the usual symbol, ODBP, return address, and the parameter. Then we specify the entry code, push EBP, move ESP to EBP, and at the end we specify the exit code, which is exactly the opposite. Move EBP back to ESP, pop EBP, and return. Now that that part is done, we can focus on the loop. The loop starts with begin loop as a label, because at the end of the loop we have to go back to the beginning. So jump to begin loop from here. Then we can specify the comparison. We want to compare whatever the string pointer is pointing, whatever str points to, and see whether that is 0 or not. And you can see we have to dereference str quite a few times, down there. So it makes sense to use one of the registers to represent str. So we can just pick one register. I'll just pick EAX for that purpose. So we move the parameter str into a register EAX. Once we have done that, the comparison becomes quite a bit easier, because we'll just be comparing the constant 0 with whatever the string pointer, the str is pointing to, but EAX is str at this point, so dereferencing EAX is the same as dereferencing str. If it is 0, JZ, it is time to get out of the loop. So we jump to the exit loop label, which is after the end of the loop, so we'll put exit loop here. So that takes care of the condition of the loop. Inside we have a conditional statement, and we have increment str here. So let's just take care of the conditional statement first. If the reference str is greater than or equal to lowercase a, and the reference str is less than or equal to z, do something. That means if it is outside of the range, we don't want to do that something, and that's what we are checking for. So we want to compare. Oops, I made the same mistake here. I should not be using compare long. Instead, I should be using compare byte, because we are comparing characters. Okay, so I cut myself again. So we'll be comparing the ASCII code of lowercase a to whatever EAX points to, and if it is less than, so we say JB, jump if below, we go to end if, and end if is right here after the conditional statement. Then we compare byte z, lowercase z, to whatever EAX points to, and in this case we say JA, jump if above, if whatever EAX points to has a code higher than the ASCII code of Z, we also want to jump around, because in that case there's no case conversion to be performed. The case conversion is done here, and we can basically just borrow this code almost completely. Instead of using subtract long, we have to use subtract byte, because whatever str points to is a single byte. So subtract byte, what we are subtracting is the difference between the ASCII code of lowercase a and the ASCII code of uppercase A, and guess what? We just copy that entirely into assembly, because the calculation of the subtraction of two constants works basically the same way in assembly. And we want to subtract that from whatever str points to but since EAX is str, we can use the indirect mode of EAX. And we're almost done. We just have to increment the str here, which is our string pointer. That can be done with add $1 to EAX, and remember in this case we have to use add long because we are no longer working with the dereference result of str. We're working with str itself, and str is a pointer which has 4 bytes. And I think that should be it. Um, let's go ahead and test it. No syntax error. Let's just run the program with our test file converted to this is rather silly. It did not do the base conversion, did it? Okay, let's go back in, see why it is not doing the conversion. Either it's not even entering the loop at all, or it is entering the loop but not doing any type of base conversion. So we'll check whether it's going into the loop here. Begin loop, compare byte 0 to EAX, or dereference EAX, and EAX does have the pointer. The pointer has the right location here. So I'm fairly certain that it got into the loop because it won't find the null terminator unless it is at the end. Inside the loop, we compare EAX to lowercase a. If it is below, if it is already lowercase, if it is not a lowercase letter, we don't do anything, and we compare whatever EAX points to with Z. If it is higher, which means it is also not a lowercase character, we branch around to end if. And if it is not, we go in here, we subtract this amount from whatever EAX points to. That seems to be correct. We increment EAX, and then we jump to the beginning again, which is at the top. So this code seems to be correct, and the program is not doing a segmentation fault. Let's just make it again, just to make sure that I'm not seeing double. And it's still not doing it. It is doing it. It was doing it the first time. Converted to is a part of the prompt and not a part of the converted result. The actual content of test.txt looks like this, which has a mixture of uppercase and lowercase letters, and the actual output is this part here, which has successfully converted everything over. So I was just being silly, which I do a lot.